Good evening. In today's session, let's discuss regarding needs for the reforms in GST. GST stands for Goods and Services Tax. We already know that. And we have another point here. Frauds in indirect tax regime can be attributed to high GST rates. This is the statement that is given by none other than 13th Finance Commission Chairman Shri Vijay Kelkar. 13th Finance Commission Chairman Shri Vijay Kelkar. In the light of the statement given by Shri Vijay Kelkar, we are going to discuss about this. We know GST and the government is announcing that there are huge collections with respect to GST, but on the other side, the intellectuals, experts like Shri Vijay Kelkar are recommending for the reforms in GST. What exactly is this? Let's try to understand in a very detailed manner. And in this particular session, after the discussion, I am going to show you two objective type of questions which are related to civil services preliminary examination or group 1 preliminary examination at the state level. And in the same class today, I am also going to discuss one descriptive type of answer. Again, that is related to civil services main examination and group 1 main examination at the state level. So this class will be useful for both the prelims and mains for civil services as well as the state level group 1 services. Very important topic. Please listen to me very carefully. So our topic today is the need for reforms in GST. Frauds in indirect tax regime can be attributed to high GST rates. We know what is GST and we know there are 4 slabs in GST. Of course, there is 0%, that is a nil rate, we are leaving it. But otherwise, we know that, so there is a slabs like 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. When it comes to 18% and 28%, definitely they are considered to be very high. The general tendency of the people are those people who are there in the business, they will try to evade taxes, meaning they don't want to pay the tax. Meaning 18% and 28% is considered to be so high. Meaning, according to Shri Vijay Kelkar, because there is a high tax regime, definitely people will think to evade the taxes. So they don't try to pay, and that is leading to fraud as far as the GST collection is concerned. And if those frauds can be, those loopholes can be, removed, then obviously GST collection will be increased further. Clear, very important. That is the reason why Shri Vijay Kelkar has recommended for reforms in GST. Plus, he also recommended for introduction of only single slab, meaning there should be only single GST rate and that should be 12%. So according to him, if you introduce just one slab over there, 12%, then obviously that will enhance the revenue to the government, and the people who are evading the taxes will not evade the tax, and that will lead to the increase of revenue to the government. And whatever we are talking about, 1.78 lakh crore collection during the month of March 2024, or 1.87 lakh crores of collection during the month of April 2023 are considered to be the highest so far, right? So far these 2 months are the highest. And if these reforms are introduced, then that will lead to more collection of taxes according to Shri Vijay Kelkar. Clear, very important. And GST has been introduced in India on July 1st, 2017. You already know that. And it was done by amending the constitution, and it was the 101st constitution amendment. Clear? So with this basic information, let's go ahead and discuss this topic. As I told you, I am going to discuss with you Altogether 3 questions, 2 objective type and 1 descriptive type. Clear? Kindly have a look at this. The first question is that consider the following statements regarding the demand for single 12% GST rate. So now certain people like the intellectuals like Shri Vijay Kelkar and some other members are demanding that remove all the slabs and introduce only one, this 12% slab. Clear? So you have to consider it. And two statements are given. One statement may be right or two statements may be correct and two statements may be wrong. Let's try to understand. Let's try to find out what is the correct answer. Look at this. If you introduce single 12% GST rate, read statement A, it promotes manufacturing and exports and increase indirect tax revenue to the government. Now understand very clearly and carefully. These are the questions that you have to read very carefully. You have to analyze properly, apply logic very, very carefully, then automatically you will come to a conclusion. And in order to come to a proper conclusion, to bubble the correct circle, you have to go for the extensive reading. That is the reason why I always suggest you to read standard books and also one good newspaper. Clear? Of course, all newspapers are good. I am not recommending any newspaper, but please read at least one newspaper every day. Clear? Now I'll say statement A is correct, I'll say. But how can I substantiate this? It promotes manufacturing. It means what? Introduction of a single GST rate of 12% will promote manufacturing and exports. Okay, manufacturing and exports, and it will increase indirect tax revenue to the government. So how does it is going to increase the manufacture? So basically what happens, as you have 5%, 12, 18 and 28, remove the higher slabs and reduce it to 12%. Then instead of, right, I told you already, most of the people will try to evade taxes because of the high taxes. And if you make it a reasonable one and tighten the screws and introduce the technology to monitor the payment very clearly, many people, many manufacturers, many entrepreneurs will pay the tax regularly. Since they are paying less tax than before, they are saving huge money. And when they are saving huge money, they will invest that money for further manufacturing. So that will be boosting the manufacturing sector further. So reduction of GST or introduction of a single GST slab of 12% will enhance manufacturing sector in India. The more is the manufacture, more can be the exports. More is the exports, more is the revenue to the government. Hence, statement A is correct. Am I clear? So these are the points that you have to remember very clearly and carefully. Clear? So statement A is correct for me. Statement B, it, meaning introduction of a single 12% GST rate will demotivate the manufacturing industry and leads to reduction of exports further, leading to balance of payment problems. Is it correct? So statement A and statement B are absolutely contradictory to each other. Statement A is mentioning about the promotion. Statement B is mentioning about the demotion. But according to our logic, according to the analysis that we have put here, definitely statement A is correct. So that will promote manufacturing sector, that will promote exports, and that will increase revenue to the government. And statement B is wrong. So obviously only statement A is correct, and our answer should be option 1. That's it. Clear? So meaning A only. So let me check up whether it is correct or not. Yes, absolutely correct. Statement A is correct. Option 1 is correct. Kindly remember, my dear friends, in the examination you have to be very careful while answering questions of this type. Clear? Any any small mistake by you, any missing of just 1% of logic here will land you in trouble. Clear? That is the reason why for every question, for every bubbling, you have to be very careful and you have to be focused completely. Clear? Now, so let me show you one more question which is objective type. Right? Now look at this. I promised you that I will give you two objective type of questions and one descriptive. Now see here, the second one, objective type. Consider the following statements regarding GST. Right? Of course our topic is GST. Second question is also related to GST. GST, two statements again. GST was introduced in India on July 1st, 2027 is wrong. Let me change it. So this is the 2017. Right? Okay, fine. So GST was introduced in India on July 1st, 2017 through 101st Constitution Amendment Act. In the beginning only we have discussed, so there is no necessity of a further discussion on this. This is a fact and statement A is correct. Clear? Now, let's check whether statement B is correct or not. April 2023, last year, right, 2023, recorded highest GST collection. We started our journey on July 1st, 2017. We are in the month of April. We are in the month of April 2024. And we have the collections up to March 2024. Is that okay? So now read this. April 2023 recorded highest GST collection, followed by March 2024. What is the meaning? According to this statement, highest collection of GST was in the month of April 2023 and second highest is in March 2024 with 1.87 lakh crores and 1.78 lakh crores respectively. Clear? I remember this point I have already discussed with you earlier. 1.87 lakh crore is highest so far. This was collected in April 2023 and 1.78 lakh crores is the second highest GST collection. It was in March 2024. Clear? So this statement is correct. Let me tell you one thing very clearly. Statement B is correct till today, till the completion of this April 2024. We don't know what will be the collection of April 2024. That will be announced by the government in May. Fine. So that is the reason why you have to follow this news very carefully. By any chance, if it crosses 1.78 lakh crores at any time, then this particular statement will be wrong. By any chance, if the collection goes beyond 1.87 lakh crores, then the statement will become wrong. That is the reason why be very careful. And all these updates you will be getting only in the newspaper very nicely. So, as of now, statement A is correct. Of course, it's a fact. It will not be changed. And when it comes to statement B, it may be changed in future. But as of now, till April 2024, this particular statement is also correct. So my answer should be both A and B are correct, and answer should be option 3. Clear? So here also let me change here. This is not 2027, this is 2017. Right? Over. That's it. Clear? So my only suggestion is that try to be very careful, be very focused, have complete concentration only on that question while you are reading the question. Then you will come to a successful conclusion. Right? Next. So I would like to show you, one descriptive answer here. But before that, let me show you the question here. Frauds in indirect tax regime can be attributed to highest GST rates. Critically evaluate the statement in the light of the comments made by the 13th Finance Commission Chairman Shri Vijay Kelkar in April 2024. In April 2024, he made these comments. Clear? I told you already, right? So the frauds in indirect tax regime can be attributed to high GST. Higher is the GST and more people will try to evade. Even with the direct taxes also, this is one of the suggestions that the direct taxes has to be reduced so that more people will come forward and pay, otherwise they try to evade. Clear? Or the genesis of current GST fraud lies, right? So there is a fraud and the genesis lies in the very structure of the GST rates. So according to Shri Vijay Kelkar, the the structure itself is very, very wrong. That is the reason why that is leading to more frauds. The high rate of GST make it lucrative for the fraudsters to evade taxes. Comment on this. What do you mean by comment? Make it as clear as possible. So these are the questions on the screen and you can write down these questions. And let's go ahead with the discussion how to write answer for this. Have a look at this. So in order to write answer for this question, you have to know what is GST. We already know what is GST. When is it introduced in India? We know that. What are the GST slabs? I told you already. 5%, 12%, 18 and 28. Clear? What is the current demand? The current demand is to mix up all this and introduce only single tax. That will be 12%. That's it. Clear? What is happening in developed or emerging economies? This is very, very important. There are so many countries in the world before India. Those have introduced GST, and of course in some countries it is still called VAT, value added tax. So in those countries where it has already been introduced, 80% of those countries have introduced only single slab, only single GST rate. But in India we have multiple slabs. Clear? Very, very important one. And in these 80% of the countries, the GST or VAT is considered to be successful when compared to the other countries with the multiple slab rates of GST. Am I clear? So there is a clear indication. There are examples in with respect to GST where some countries those introduced GST with the single slab rate are getting more revenue than those countries with multiple slab rates. Over. Next, what are the consequences of high GST? What will happen? You will lose the control. People will always think about evading the taxes. So what is the latest demand? Club all the taxes and make it a single slab, 12%. Clear? And suggestions by Vijay Kelkar on need of the reforms. So according to Shri Vijay Kelkar, he suggested that there should be single tax slab. So that should be 12%. And another important thing is that in order to do this, there is a necessity for going for the constitutional amendment. Clear? And he also suggested that there is a necessity to introduce a new consolidated fund for local bodies. Where come the local bodies are coming into the picture? Right? Consolidated of India is there. Consolidated fund of the states is there, but consolidated fund of local bodies is not there. But Shri Vijay Kelkar has recommended that you make the reforms in such a way that there should be equitable distribution of the revenue between central government, state governments, union territories and local self-governments, especially urban local bodies, municipalities and municipal corporations. This is a very, 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 very wonderful suggestion that has been given by Shri Vijay Kelkar. Very, very, very important, and these points you have to write in the examination. Am I clear? And while writing this one, you have to quote as Shri, right? Vijay Kelkar, the chairman of the 13th Finance Commission, has suggested. Write down these points. Clear? And another important thing is that he also recommended for creation of the separate GST secretariat. Today GST Council, GST Secretariat is attached to the central government, that is being driven by the central government. Clear? And the states are forced to follow that one. But he suggested that there should be an independent GST Council with a GST Secretariat where all the stakeholders will have a say. That is very, very important recommendation. Clear? And eighth point, he suggested the share for the third tier governments. Am I clear? Third tier government means what? First tier union government, second tier state governments, third tier, right? So the local governments. Clear? And what will happen, if you introduce these reforms? So that you need to write in conclusion, and conclusion should be always positive in nature. Am I clear? So now I would like to show you the complete answer for this. Kindly have a look at this. So now you will understand very easily. Introduction is like this. In most of the developed and emerging market economies, there is a policy of a single GST on goods and services. Those countries have been successful in optimizing tax revenue and minimizing tax disputes. What is happening in India? There are so many tax disputes. But here there are examples outside India. If you have a single tax, single slab, you will have the optimizing tax revenue and minimizing the tax disputes. Of the countries with GST or VAT systems, 80% have opted for single tax rate. Why not India? Clear? This is the introduction for this question. The genesis of the current GST fraud lies in the very structure of the GST rates. The high rate of GST makes it lucrative for the fraudsters to evade taxes. Higher is the tax and more will be the, people think about the evading those taxes. Clear? And they are considered to be fraudsters. Very, 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 very important. Clear? Next. As per the chairman of the 13th Finance Commission of India, if you want to write down the name, you can write down the name. The simplification of a GST structure is critically significant fiscal reform to take the GST regime to its most natural destination. So according to these eminent people, had there is a simplified structure of GST, our GST would have reached to the natural destination. So whatever the government is claiming that we have so much of GST revenue today, that is considered to be smaller amounts according to these eminent people. Clear? A single GST rate of 12% with the revenues shared equally with all the tiers of the government and UTs be introduced at the earliest. Very, very important one. This is what is said by Shri Vijay Kelkar. Look at this. He also said that creation of independent secretariat for GST, secretariat for GST Council, the apex decision making body for indirect taxes, which was rolled out in 2017 is suggested. Meaning GST Council rolled out in the year 2017, and he suggested that there should be a separate secretariat which is detached from the union government. The current setup is being driven by the union government, may be considered as problematic for the states. Clear? Now, so the single rate of 12% was suggested by 13th Finance Commission. It would simplify the structure, quell almost all classification issues, and help promote manufacturing and exports. Kindly remember, here you just write down, it will help in promoting manufacture and exports. That's it. You need not explain that, because you are writing answer, within 200 or 250 words or maximum 300 words. Clear? That is the reason why be very very careful and be very choosy with respect to number of words. Am I clear? Right. Next, equitable sharing of GST with the third tier government will go a long way in strengthening the fiscal base of the urban governments. My dear friends, you all know that at the third level, meaning the urban local government or the rural local government, there is so much of the financial crunch. Even today also they are depending on the mercy of the central and state governments. But we say that that is a grassroots democracy. The real democracy of India lies at the local self governments. But in reality, what is real democracy again? When the people don't have the money, how come a rural area will be developed? How come an urban area will be developed? That is the reason why, if you observe very clearly, whatever the state you may be living in, please look at the financial condition of the local bodies in your state. So there are these bodies are there with the meager funds. They always request the governments at the higher level for the funds. Meaning even today also, the so-called grassroots level democracy is depending on the mercy of the central and state governments. It should come to an end. That is the reason why this great personality has suggested for the equitable share even to the third tier government. For this reason, he said that there is a necessity for creating a consolidated fund for the third tier government. Clear? Look at this. It helps in deepening democracy and governance at the grassroots level. Right? Once you have the money, so you are strengthening the grassroots democracies. This requires a constitutional amendment. Firstly, to create a consolidated fund for the third tier government. Secondly, GST reforms where GST will be shared equitably by the center, state and the third tier governments. Clear? Very, 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 very important one. And if you do so, what will happen? This would bolster the quality of governance. As citizens' demand for quality public goods will grow louder. Clear? People will be louder. They demand for quality services, quality goods. And since you have the money, quality services, quality governance can be provided even to the people at the grassroots levels of our democracy. Am I clear? Very, very, very important topic we have discussed. Kindly follow our current affairs very regularly and very carefully. Like this, I will be giving you the various topics on various subjects, and that will be definitely helpful for all the people who are preparing for civil services examination and also group 1 examination at the various state levels. Clear? And please download our app by clicking the link that is given in the description box. And I have also given my Telegram channel link. Please follow me through that Telegram channel link for getting updates from time to time. Thank you so much, and I wish you all very, very good luck. See you in the next class.